welcome back to Valkyrie Flight. That was amazing. Thank you, Brian, for organising and putting that video intro together.
I slacked off on it long enough.
Yeah. Well,
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. So now, since the intros are just done and over with, since they all appeared in that video right there, we can jump into today's session. So where we left off last time was Dr. Jha had experienced her Jem'hadar and had learned some not so friendly truths about her past that had been... her memory had been altered to deal with some crimes in the past. So that was quite an eye-opening situation for them. Right now, the crew of the Valkyrie is heading back to the Sol system, to Earth, to continue their patrol. And I believe that Lieutenant Commander Thesareth has a counselling session with Lieutenant Lorin right now. So let's start that up.
Oh boy.
So just meeting in the lieutenant's counselling offices.
I arrive exactly 2 minutes early.
Do you just wait outside, or do you like ring or knock on the door?
I press the chime.
Come in.
Lieutenant?
Ah. Lieutenant Commander, have a seat. Thank you for being early.
I tend to find promptness polite, and I will sit down.
Alright, well, I guess we can go ahead and get started then. While you're here, you can be as formal or informal as you like. Everything we talk about will remain here unless you otherwise wish to have it shared. Is that right with you?
I nod.
Alright, so how have you been?
I have been well. Thank you for asking. I am compartmentalizing and assessing the situation that just happened. It was interesting.
To say the least, I don't think... I'm not sure about everyone else, but that's the first time I've ever seen something like that happen.
Indeed. Have you spoken to Dr. Jar about the events? It seems it left an impression on her.
Not yet. I find in a situation like this, it's best to let Dr. Jar have her own time before someone like me steps in to see if they need help. Pushing too fast and too hard to start with, it's not always the best idea, especially with someone who's learned something of that magnitude about themselves.
I just hope she knows that we are here for her.
I think she knows that. I just think she'll need time to herself to figure out everything that's happened. So, back to you. How have you found your time serving aboard the USS Valkyrie?
Challenging.
Challenging. Do you care to explain?
At first, I was very put off by Captain Tedesco's attitude.
What put you off about it?
His briskness is very reminiscent of some captains that I've served under, and it reminded me of some unpleasantness. Not to mention his cavalier way of inserting himself into tasks that he puts forth onto others and is supposedly entrusting you with, and then comes forward to assist you, is frustrating. What's the human saying? Too many hands in a pot, or something like that?
Something like that. Have you ever brought this up to the captain before?
Recently, but growing up the way I did and going through schooling and working in the Andorian Defense Force, I tended to not put my feelings on display, as it were.
Understandable.
But I am learning things are different in Starfleet.
And learning all of these differences, how has that impacted your growth into being a Starfleet officer?
Positively, I think. I'm still somewhat unaccustomed to speaking my mind, or not being as competitive with my crewmates. This isn't the first ship I served on in Starfleet, but during my first posting, for the first several months, I often found myself at odds with everyone else on the ship because I felt we were in constant competition, because that's how I was used to approaching the world, and I was very good at winning.
So, what do you think has helped you the most in acclimating to a more cooperative mode of working with the rest of your fellow officers?
My family, meditation, reading, time.
Oh, you like to read. So, what kind of books do you read?
I read a lot of history, a lot of philosophy, a lot of anthropology, a lot of science. A lot of science.
Anthropology, that's interesting. I see a lot of the senior staff, well, a few of the senior staff at least have a hand in learning anthropology, myself included.
Well, when one is dealing with different cultures, one wants to learn how best to approach it without attacking first.
Yeah, that's normally the best idea.
Not always.
Oh, are there other times where attacking first is normally the best venture?
Yes. During the Bajoran occupation, attacking Cardassians first was seen as commonplace. During previous wars with the Klingons, attacking first was commonplace.
I see. So, alright.
May I ask you a question, Lieutenant?
I think you're the first person who's asked me that in any of these meetings.
How dedicated and deep does your pacifism go?
Are you talking from a cultural standpoint or from my personal standpoint?
Personally.
Personally, if there are no other viable options, I see nothing wrong with having to defend myself and my crew and the people I care about. That's if there are no other options available.
What would you consider no other option?
Peace talkings, escaping, running away sometimes if necessary, because sometimes it's better to run than to stand and fight if there's no need for it.
Interesting.
Alright. So, something I'm going to be asking everybody who comes in here, are there any problems that you feel that you need to bring up or that you feel the need to talk about?
Personally or interpersonally?
Both apply here.
I find myself often concerned with the lack of interdepartmental cooperation on this ship. I also find myself a little bit annoyed that we are apparently a science vessel, and yet in the most recent months, given the circumstances, it is understandable. However, the class of this ship is confusing to me.
You can speak frankly. I won't. Being able to speak freely and uninhibited is a very important thing for people to feel in my office. So if you feel the need to use unadulterated language, feel free.
I left a warship in order to become peaceful because my captain was an idiot who got half, if not more than half, of his crew killed. And I still carry the weight of that, and the scars of that, and the pain of that daily. More than half of my back is covered in constant aching scars. And I find it interesting that Starfleet, which prides itself on diplomacy, is constantly at war with something. If I wanted to stay a warrior, I would have remained in the defense forces. And I feel like my talents are being wasted.
Alright, so are you talking about your scientific talents or other talents?
Science, mostly.
If I can ask a personal question, what drew you from the Defense Force into joining Starfleet?
I nearly died. I honestly wasn't going to join Starfleet. I was going to retire. I was going to remain either on Andoria or on some outpost with my family. But my mentor, Savick, suggested that I attempt enrollment in Starfleet. And it was interesting. I'm not sure why I didn't go with command, but honestly, I thought Starfleet is peaceful, and it was foolish at the time, but for the most part, the occupation was dwindling, and I thought war was over. But I was an idiot.
I don't think you were an idiot for feeling that the war was nearing an end. There's a thing of those who are warriors and who are fighters and soldiers that there is a need for battle to be over at some point so that they can rest and revel and experience life outside of fighting. So it's not, you weren't stupid in hoping that, in wanting that.
I just grew up fighting and trained for years, and I got tired of it. But here if it's not the Klingons, it's the Dominion. If it's not the Dominion, it's the Cardassians. If it's not the Cardassians, it's the Romulans. And it's...
Well, from what I understand, the USS Valkyrie isn't always fighting, is
It's not.
Sorry, go ahead.
It just feels like our captain has an itch to prove himself. And I understand that, I do. But when you are playing with other people's lives, it can be tricky. And I worry that he doesn't always realize that he's not the only one on the ship.
I see. Lieutenant Commander, would you be amenable to seeing me weekly, if possible?
If possible.
Okay. Is there anything else that you feel the need to bring up or discuss with me? Right.
I just feel like I should apologize for you being involved in this ship in some manner. We we have quite a bit of need for a therapist, it seems. You have your hands full.
I can tell, and so far I don't think anyone needs to apologize for anything. I just think it's probably long overdue that there is a place for quiet and retrospection and free talking without the worry of being reprimanded. Plus, it's a challenge, and I like a challenge.
You're too young.
You're not the first person to say that.
Well, I will send you my schedule and perhaps we can work something out.
Of course. I am very open and willing to working around whatever schedule you have. It was very nice talking with you, Commander. Lieutenant.
And you, Lieutenant. And I will get up, straighten my uniform, and walk out of the room.
What shift would you say it was right now? If you were to go to the counselor at this time, would like beta, gamma?
Probably, I mean, we're all on the same shift, which is alpha.
Yeah, we're all on alpha shift.
So probably middle of gamma shift.
All right.
Or not gamma, sorry, beta shift.
I was gonna say, what, 2 a.m. therapy?
2 a.m. therapy!
You know, that's kind of when it's most necessary.
Yeah, I don't sleep. There are too many fucked up people on this show.
Perfect for insomnia.
No, more like 6 o'clock or something like that, I guess.
All right. So around when it gets to 7 o'clock, AdCon, Ted gets a notification from the beta crew saying, "We're detecting some strange anomalies, Captain. I think we need your eye here."
On my way. And I shut off the hockey program and was watching on my little view screen on my table, and I head over there. Yeah, I keep up.
All right.
Nerd.
It's literally hockey.
And so I think the more appropriate is Jock!
No, he's a sports nerd.
That's a fair point. But yeah, no, it's Ted walks off the turbo lift onto the bridge.
All right. So as you get there, the beta shift random NPCs that you haven't really gotten to know at all, and probably won't really get to know much at all. But
They're the extras. That's fine.
they're the extras. And the one manning the science station hands you a data pad. Should have a look at this, Captain. Give me a reason science with a focus roll. Difficulty 1.
Oh, with a focus. Interesting. All right.
Don't like that.
Yeah, there's some interesting things with my focus. All right, recent science. It's been a while.
Well, it's about time.
Boom.
Okay, so you get 2 momentum. There is definitely some kind of, from what you're reading, there is definitely some kind of temporal flux that is happening about 1.5 light years off course.
Oh, crap. Hand it back. All right, hang on. Tell tap my common badge. Captain Ted to Commander Thazareth.
I'm like halfway through eating my meal, and it's just like, God damn it. I tap my comm badge. Commander Thazareth.
Beta Chef pulled me up to the bridge. Looks like we've got some unusual anomalies out here. I'd just like you to take a look at them.
On my way, and I'll head to the turbo lift.
And I'll do the same thing, and I'll pull Rogueson up here as well.
Alright, Rogueson...
They are a science nerd.
Rogueson gets pulled up and asks, what's going on, Captain? As Lasan just...
So specifically, with the initial scan we found, that is there was evidence of chronotons, right?
There is definitely evidence of chronotons.
Yeah. Well, we got chronotons, people. And for those in the know, that's not great.
That's probably going to mess up our evening.
Yeah, we'll see how severe it is and whether or not we need to start pulling more senior staff. For now, let's see how much we can get information where we are from long-range sensors. So that means I'm going to need you, Commander Thazareth, to give me as much information as we can get.
Alright, let's do a reason science from this range. I'm going to say difficulty 3.
I'm going to collaborate, using collaboration science to spend momentum to give the Thazareth my focus in temporal mechanics.
Ooh, thank you.
Yes.
If there's an extra die, I would also like to take one for a caution.
There is. Still have 2 left over from last episode, plus the 2 generated from the most recent roll. So you can take one.
Alright, so I'm using Ted's focus, 3 dice. Is the ship rolling?
The ship will be rolling. This will be sensor science as well.
I got that.
Alright, and you said 3... difficulty...
Difficulty 3, yes.
Made it. Also made it. Nice.
Okay, so you get the momentum back. And from...
No, only one. Only one momentum.
Yeah, 1 momentum back. That's what I... there is definitely... You've confirmed that there is some kind of chronoton flux that is happening. That something isn't quite temporally stable. And you're able to figure out... There's a ship in the middle of that anomaly. You're unable to get any kind of details about it because you're just far away, but you're able to pick up there's a ship there in the middle of some kind of anomaly that needs to be further examined.
Alright, using my free question that I get, can I determine...
Actually, I have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Can we determine whether or not this is time dilation or a full temporal displacement?
That's a good question, yeah.
Okay, if this is full temporal displacement, they are not meant to be here temporarily.
Oh boy, that's time travel, not time manipulation. Ooh boy.
How far away from us is it?
It's about I said a light year and a half. So you're going to have to...
1.5 light years. Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna share this information with Ted and Iris.
Ted just pinches the bridge of his nose. Son of a... Some captains go their entire careers without running into things like this.
It's your specialty, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Iris, let's pull the senior staff here. We have to investigate it.
Yeah, Iris taps a communicator. Commander Oakson to all senior staff, please report to the bridge.
Misaka gets out of the pool.
Yeah. In fact, when Misaka shows up on the bridge, he's in his uniform, but his hair is like wet and not in his ponytail, and he's got a towel around his neck.
What was Safan doing when he got called?
Probably still doing duty-related stuff because he's Vulcan and they don't sleep nearly as much as humans do.
That's fair.
What was Kalani doing?
They go bowl of ice cream.
Probably... she was probably in her quarters, just trying to make something to eat.
And we got Loren here too.
I just come up from my office.
All right. Once everyone's here on the bridge, I have to put the lowdown on the situation. We are detecting chronoton readings, possibly evidence of a full temporal displacement about a light year and a half away from us.
Chronotons, those little bastards.
Yeah, tell me about it. So, as it stands, currently from Starfleet Mandate, there is a very strict regimen of what we can and can't do in regards to investigating this. But from my experience, it's better to figure out what the hell's going on before some other poor, some other poor ship runs across it, and then they just get poofed to who knows where.
Or when.
Captain, may I recommend everybody get inoculations for chronoton radiation?
That's a good idea, actually. Yeah, set that up. And Zareth, you said there was there was a ship reading.
Vaguely, it was hard to place.
You think we'll be able to get more accurate readings if we got nearer to the disturbance?
Perhaps, or if we can find some way to clear some sort of temporal interference.
That's tricky. Without specialized equipment, it's not really easy to clear a disturbance. It's actually more easier to destroy it. But I don't want to do that. There's a ship within the anomaly.
Just quietly making mental notes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I want the entire crew inoculated against chronotonic radiation, and before we go any closer to that anomaly.
Absolutely, Captain.
Alright, can you just give me a control medicine check? Just a difficulty 2. Actually, no, difficulty 1.
And is it possible to remodulate the shields in such a fashion to provide more resistance for temporal disturbances?
That would...
That's my specialty, isn't it?
Yeah, that would something that Zaka probably would be able to at least try to do.
So recent engineering just figure out how to do that.
Yeah, reason engineering for that. That'll be more difficult. That'll also be a 3.
Could I give him my focus as well?
Yes, okay, I'll allow that.
Okay.
Is collaborate, does that use a momentum to do?
It costs momentum, yeah.
Yes.
Alright, so I will have to take another 2 momentum off.
And I'm gonna take another one for an extra die.
Okay.
We just got one back from Dr. Jar. So.
Perfect.
Perfect.
And,
Oh no!
Yeah, fuck. Shit.
someone...
Mazaka sucks.
Someone will need to roll for the ship as well for that.
Do you have cautious?
I do
So-
not have caution.
So make it a computers engineering. No, computer
Keep momentum. Do you want to
computer science check for the Valkyrie.
I can roll out.
Let's see what the Valkyrie rolls first. I
Okay.
might end up letting that complication ride.
You said computer science?
Computer science. Oh, okay. So you've hit the difficulty 3.
So I'm going to take the success and the complication then. Because if we succeeded, I'm just going to take it. Because we succeeded, we just got something else going to happen.
Okay, so it's working, but to make it work, the shields, basically the ship has a resistance reduction, while the temporal shielding is in effect.
Ooh.
It's all jury rigged.
Alright. Interesting. Yeah, no, it makes sense. The Valkyrie wasn't designed for anything like this.
Mm-hmm.
So the Valkyrie now has a resistance of 5.
Okay, hope nothing happens. And then I confirm with all departments that we're ready to go.
So everyone's been
Yeah.
inoculated.
What was
Sorry.
that, Steph?
No, I was gonna ask if we had gotten the thing, and then Vaz was.
Yeah, so everyone's been inoculated. The changes have been made to the shielding, as far as you can learn, unless there's anything else that you want to do before you head off. It's you've made all the preparations you can.
All right. Alvarado, take us in. Warp 3.
Righto. I'm not going to make him roll.
Okay.
It gets to a safe distance.
Yeah,
And-
at least 100,000 kilometers.
Yeah, and this is basically what you see. It's not within the system, it's just open, empty space, and with this anomaly just...
We don't see anything.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to switch the stream can, the recording can, just not you guys.
There we go.
Oh, damn it, it's Smash. We're gonna get hit. Everyone is there.
I call Sheik.
Okay, so just with the visual senses looking at it, you can clearly see a large ship silhouetted within the temporal anomaly. If you want to try and identify it, Alvarado will have to give me an insight con.
Oh, okay. He can do that. Alright, Alvarado. Insight con.
This will be a difficulty 2. Backed up by the Valkyrie's computer scan.
think
I
we
will
can
roll
make
I'll roll the ship.
that. Okay. Let's do this. Alvarado cannot do that.
Do you want to reroll it?
It wouldn't matter.
Holy Christ.
Alvarado is a supporting character. He does not have that much good stuff.
Okay, so he's unable to identify anything. It's a large shape. It's unfamiliar. He knows that it's not anything that you faced previously. Nothing, nothing that you would interact with. Nothing Klingon, nothing Romulan, nothing Cardassian.
Cool.
That's about it.
Can Mazaka make an attempt, as he's a ship designer?
Give
Just to be a little.
Okay, give me insight design engineering with the focus.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes more sense. Alvarado's an ensign. And he's not that experienced.
Yeah. This is more Mazaka's wheelhouse. I'm gonna take a die for an extra. Suspended momentum for an extra die because we've been rolling like shit so far.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah. So roll
Who wants to roll with a Valkyrie?
roll computers con for the Valkyrie again.
Go for it.
Computers con. Coming up.
Oh, okay.
Very nice.
So you got 4 momentum from that. And you're able to tell from the readings. You haven't seen this in person, but from the specs, they look like a Jem'hadar battlecruiser.
What?
No.
Oh shit.
Red alert.
That's not good.
Red fucking alert.
So I would like to go at. So I really like Captain. It appears to be a Jem'hadar ship. I would like to spend a momentum to get a little more information.
Okay. What?
Does it? I would like to know if it matches any of the currently known Jem'hadar Dominion ship designs.
It is not a current design. From what you can tell, it is somewhat of a future design. It's not the ones that exist now. From what you're seeing here.
It might not necessarily be future. It might just be a design we haven't seen yet. We don't know that much about the Dominion.
I would assume that Mazaka might be able to extrapolate.
Yeah,
like there's certain things that we know how like ship design progresses.
Apart from that, there's also some stuff that have been in terms of the Polaron and other tech that he has examined that seems to be much more powerful version of some of the tech and equipment.
So this is Daniel's Jem'hadar ship.
Are we in completely open space? There's no planets or anything?
This is completely open. Your extra solar space. There is no star system nearby.
Cool.
We're not officially at war with the Dominion at this stage, though, right?
Not for another 6 months.
That's what I thought. Okay.
There's nothing coming from the ship, right? Like no signals, no wavelengths, no nothing.
You would have to do a check to determine that. There is a lot of stuff coming off there, but you don't know what is temporal stuff and just what is actually trying to be generated, if there is anything.
I'd like to run a tactical analysis of this ship as it is.
Yeah, and while we may not be at war with the Dominion yet, they certainly blew up the Odyssey.
They did.
And we only just recently captured that Jem'hadar fighter in the DS9 episode of the ship, so we've only just started developing defenses against their tech.
Yeah.
Alright, so give me an insight security check with computers con for the Valkyrie.
Alright. Insight security. Does my observation focus apply here?
I'm going to say no.
Okay. How about ship or tactical systems?
I'm going to allow that one.
Okay, cool. And I'm going to take a die for momentum. What's my difficulty?
The difficulty is... I'm going to say 2.
Okay.
And I'm rolling for the ship.
Alrighty.
Okay, so you get 2 momentum back.
Nice roll.
Yeah, nat 1.
So yes, the ship currently in a current state, it seems to be in a state of temporal flux from your reading. So it's at the moment it's unable to do anything. But if that were to be resolved somehow, and it was still here, then from your examinations of it, it would pack a serious punch, and in the Valkyrie's weakened state, and be a serious threat.
Terrific.
Captain, would destroying the temporal anomaly destroy this ship?
Almost certainly. The destruction will be powerful. There's a reason why it's called a destruction rather than just closing a rift. It's looking at a couple megatons of force. You said that you mentioned that the Jem'hadar ship was sporting unusual technology, something more advanced than I've ever seen before.
It is more
it's asking
advanced.
you,
Oh,
Akira.
okay, sorry.
Yes, Captain. It's definitely more advanced.
There's a possibility it might survive. Not wouldn't count on it.
Captain, if I may, it may behoove us to offer assistance.
There's policies for and against that. The Temple Prime Directive is a little confusing.
If I recall my training, isn't anything that's sent into the past supposed to return to the future to prevent contamination of the timeline?
Yeah, that's the ideal, but this is obviously a Jem'hadar ship or a Dominion ship, not Federation ship, and thus might not play by the same rules.
Well, I look at it this way: we've got really two options. If we're not able to destroy this rift, if we return it to this time frame, we've got a super Jem'hadar ship running amok in this era. Do we really want that when tensions with the Dominion are high?
Absolutely not.
And if this ship is from the future, regardless of whatever that future is, whether or not the Federation has fallen to the Dominion or we're allies, who knows what the future has to hold? At the very least, it's not in our present and it returns to where it belongs.
Yeah, that's a fair point. The Zareth Safan, from now on, all sensor readings regarding the ship are at top clearance. I want them
Acknowledged.
classified. Yeah.
Do you want to attempt to contact them in any way?
You said it mentioned the ship was in a state of terrible flux. Will they even be able to read our signal?
So you might not. It depends. It'd be really difficult, but it's possible. But
The fluctuation, is it a set pattern or is it like random?
it seems seems pretty random. So you might get lucky and get a clear enough of a clear signal through to send something through, or it might just be too overpowering.
Would there be a way to do some sort of chronometric reading to try and match their frequency or something? Their time period with our laser I don't.
There is always something you can do. The problem is that because it's in flux, there isn't one set time period. It's sort of changing and going backwards and forwards in time. It's stable, but it's like it's sort of it's
Is it the same timeline we're seeing every time, or is it literally just the same ship from different timelines being forced into one space?
From your rolls, I really should no. Give me another roll. With your science.
Okay.
Give me another insight science.
Go for it.
Ooh, insight science.
I will again give you my focus.
Okay, another momentum down.
Alright. And I will take another momentum, please.
Done.
Nice. Oh, the ship. What's she gonna roll?
The ship. Make that sensor science.
I'll take care of that this time. Nice.
Okay. Did I give it a difficulty?
You never told
And
me.
okay. So that was going to be a difficulty 2.
And that was that lowered from 3?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is this is the same ship, just twisted and turned. One thing you're able to determine as you're scanning is that there's only a single life form on board.
Are we able to ascertain the state of the life form?
It's
How morphogenic are these readings?
the life reading seems pretty stable. They're not in immediate danger in terms of.
Are we able to ascertain the species?
They are from that I'm gonna say you can, if you want to. That's your free question. If
Yeah, that's fine. I have another question I want to ask, but
okay, so it is a Jem'hadar,
Okay.
all right.
not of order,
If
not
you
a
guys-
founder, but a Jem'hadar.
If you guys are cool with it, I have another question.
Go ahead, we're full
Sure.
of momentum.
Can we determine the type of temporal anomaly? Is it like a bubble? Is it like a rift? Is it a like? Does it
Ooh,
seem natural, or does it seem made?
Artificial?
Yeah.
Hang on, I just need to double check my notes.
That's a very good question.
Thanks.
I believe this is artificial.
Oh.
And again, the captain just pinching the bridge of his nose.
Now hold on, artificial doesn't necessarily mean that it was intentional.
No. God knows the Enterprise got up to enough ridiculousness.
Can you unintentionally time travel?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. We're all just like Darwin Ship just goes, yeah.
It's amusing.
Look, sometimes you wake up for breakfast and the next thing you know, you're an ancient Rome.
You've read Kirk's biography, right? Come on, I gotta jump in.
So what you're reading, just as I double check my notes, is that it's sort of there's sort of like a gaseous nebula around it of some kind, and that the ship is interacting with that, and that's what's the chronotons aren't necessarily the ship. The chronotons are part of that nebula.
Curious, this is a new form.
So it's like something got maybe pulled through, in a way.
It's possible this nebula doesn't exist yet.
What? I'm gonna check my star chart and see.
Okay, so what are you checking for specifically?
To see if this nebula is a spontaneous anomaly or if it is like actually has been mapped out in this area before.
No, he's saying it's a nebula around the ship. The ship is itself isn't in a nebula in our space, but I'm saying it's possible that the nebula exists in the future.
Oh.
Were our scans able to get a reading on what year this Dominion vessel may be from?
You haven't tried to pinpoint a detail. You know it's sometime in the future. Maybe sometime within the next 100 years, as far as you can extrapolate at the moment.
We should probably try and communicate with whoever's on that vessel. We're not going to get anything done on this end, and if it's possible, we may be able to instruct who's around that vessel on how to stabilize their disruption and just return to their own time frame.
Do you want to help a Jem'hadar?
If it means getting his super powerful future ship out of here, yes.
We
It is
don't even
also-
know. Sorry, go ahead.
It is also worth noting that, given that we are not in a state of war, Starfleet's obligation is to assist.
There's also the fact it's only one Jem'hadar. I don't think he could run that ship by himself.
Unless it's autonomous.
I'm not eager to find out.
Not
I hadn't
anymore.
even considered that. Do we even know if he will accept our help?
Do we even know if he's conscious?
We have to offer.
Is there a role I can do about whether to figure out whether or not a lone Jem'hadar would accept help from the Federation, or is that just a no?
That would be very difficult. The Starfleet has limited direct contact. Probably. I will allow you to try, but it'll be very difficult. It'll be a difficulty 5 insight command.
Oh boy.
Oof.
You can. I will allow the Valkyrie to assist with a computer's command for checking history and other logs of interactions. But
Go for it. Try.
Can I assist?
how would you be assisting?
You would have an up-to-date intelligence
if
feed
it's-
on the Dominion.
Right. That plus, if we're doing a historical search, then that's something that Stefan would be able to help with.
All right, so you would be able to give me a reason security.
Okay,
For
so
your
the reason security for me on the assist.
yes.
Okay, got it.
The show is just Google searching.
Would my cultural studies come into play here?
Your cultural studies would come into play. You taking a momentum?
If it's okay with everyone, yeah, I'd like to take a momentum.
Yeah, go
Alright.
for it.
Yeah.
And what is the ship rolling?
The ship would be computers command.
All right, go for it.
Alright, you said control command for me?
Insight.
Oh, alright, that's better. Okay.
Ooh.
Oh no!
Never mind.
Well, I ain't rolling.
There is literally no point. You can't get the 5, even with the ship.
I can't assist if he had no successes.
Yeah. So
Re-roll everything.
So you basically just channeled Counselor Troy. Nicely done.
I'm sensing hostility. Another ship, Captain.
you
I'm just
you
gonna
have
sit here and look attractive now.
Lieutenant Mazaga just share a look.
you have no idea how the Jem'hadar would react. They are hyper. I would say they are hyper loyal, but there have been instances where that loyalty has failed. So you wouldn't know if you really have no idea how they would perceive the Valkyrie, if they'd perceive it as a threat, just to even being there. So,
Well, Captain, it's a toss-up whether or not they'll accept help or not. There's no way of knowing, especially given the fact that they're from the future.
Yeah. All right. Let's make the call. And I'm starting. Let's try and communicate with the Jem'hadar ship.
okay, there was a mention before that you wanted to see if you could get anything from them. Are you going to? Do you want to try and do that first, or are you going to just try and contact them?
Just like on a rotating thing, basically.
What we're gonna have to do is do a little bit of a sideways hit here. Basically, I sort of explained is that we're not trying to directly call from our position at the time to their position at the time. We're kind of gonna go like we're gonna do kind of a bit of a relay in order to try and hit where they used to be. It's a little bit of a timey-wimey thing here.
So essentially, we're going to try and send a message into Anomaly, but slightly into their relative past?
Slightly, yeah. In order to have better chances of them picking up the communication, rather than having to send it through the entire vortex itself.
A message in a bottle, if you will, Captain.
Something like that, except it's going to be two-way communication.
All right, so this will be difficulty 5 again. I'm gonna say, who is actually doing the work of getting that through?
If you can give me a couple minutes, could I create the advantage of where I go back to my room and grab my lockbox of time shit?
And
Lockbox of time shit is a technical term. I love it.
okay,
Just sticky note on it.
so what advantage do you want that to have?
I want to grab my old DTI tricorder.
Okay.
Contraband on the bridge.
Yeah, so I basically give me 5 minutes, and I head out, I go back down to deck 2, I go to my quarters, I pull out the lockbox from under my bed, and I open it, the thumbprint, and my identification code.
While he's doing this, I just look at Lorin like, this is what I was talking about.
Lorraine notices and then goes back to looking as attractive as possible. She can't do anything else.
Is he wearing the low cut unitard?
Is he wearing a skirt?
Yes, to everything.
The stance?
I like to mention too, as Ted's pulling papers out of the lockbox, you actually see schematics for the Valkyrie and the her warp engines, especially the warp core.
Masaka is making a.
No. This is in his quarters. This is like the camera sees it, so the audience can see it. Yeah. But yeah, he puts all that back and he pulls out the. It's a bit of a bulkier tricorder with like extra stuff on the front, like the medical tricorders.
All right, so this will reduce it down to a difficulty 3 task.
Yeah, so he eventually comes back with the with just the tricorder. It goes out to the console pavilion in the back of the bridge. All right, so this is probably a little bit older, but it should still do the job. And he pulls out a tricorder design you guys probably haven't seen before. It's definitely Federation, but it's not Starfleet.
Which we very pointedly do not mention.
I think that me and Sarah just kind of shoot each other another look.
Yep, just
Loren's just gonna like tilt his head to the side.
All right. So what I'm thinking we're going to do is this tricorder just has some communication features. What we're probably going to do is use the Valkyrie systems to amplify that, and try to achieve a stable connection with the uptime Dominion vessel.
Alright, so who wants to helm this thing?
It depends on what are we rolling.
So science and engineering will be both required. Are they still working?
I can help out on the engineering.
Who's ever rolling science, I can give him my focus.
alright, I guess I will go with science and Misaka can do engineering.
I'm sorry, I had to step away for roommate stuff really fast. What are we doing?
We are doing a combined roll to attempt to talk to the ship with science and engineering. And Lorin can help if you want help with engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the incredibly stupid plan, yes, I would like some help.
Alright, so, Mzaka, give me a reason engineering. Lorin, give me a control engineering. Thesaurus, give me a control science.
Who's taking the lead on this?
I'm gonna say this will be mostly a science thing, so Thesaurus will take the lead on it.
Oh.
Is Zareth my focus?
Okay.
We're back down to
then-
one momentum.
Yes. Thank you.
Uh, Would meticulous come into play here, or is that just for other things?
Can you?
You are assisting.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, you're assisting.
And by the way, the Valkyrie would assist with communications. I'm going to say science.
All right, Commander.
Can I use a value to get determination?
This is a difficulty 3
I don't think
at
it's
the
worth
moment.
It. Not with,
Yeah.
Okay.
not with the
Alright.
2 supports and the ship.
All right then. Yeah. Okay.
You can take a dice, okay, or not?
Oh, I should have taken a die.
You can still use your determination to re-roll.
We'll see if we get it in the moment.
Yeah.
Just rolling complications all night.
Your turn, Loren. Yeah.
Okay,
And the
And
ship.
then the ship.
Yeah, we might get enough momentum to reroll.
so
We already do.
What's the ship rolling? I can roll it.
It was comm science.
Communication science. Okay. No, we didn't. Did we get a -1 reduction on the difficulty since Valkyrie's using science?
I'm taking that because this is
Okay, just asking.
Yeah, because Ted gave us a -2.
Yeah, no, that's fair. No, nothing from Valkyrie.
But we got enough to re-roll if you want, Steph.
All right. I will reroll.
Yeah, let's not let our first word to the Dominion be "fuck the Dominion."
okay. So
We'll
use
save that for our second one.
2
So
momentum.
do I just
Just
do I
reroll
just reroll one, or do I do?
One.
1. As you're using 2 momentum, it's just 1. If you're using the determination, it would be however many.
There we go.
Alright, so you get 1 momentum back, but I'm actually going to spend some threat, because I have plenty of that, and there is no response.
Oh.
You're able to make connection, but for whatever reason, the Jem'hadar just either cannot or is unwilling to respond.
Here comes the very unfun part of this.
I was just about to ask something about that.
Means we might have to send somebody over there.
That, or how close can we get before it becomes too dangerous for the
For that matter, can we even send someone over there without it being a violation of the Temporal Prime Directive?
Anything we do to attempt to remedy the situation will be less of a violation than the ship's continued presence in our timeline.
Yes, but sending someone over to see future tech is going to be a much bigger impact. Look, there's only one life form over there. I think it's safe to assume that if that Jem'hadar is still alive, it's probably injured.
I'm gonna ask the helm. How closer do we need to get to initiate a tractor beam?
You are currently, I'm going to say, at long range, so you would have to get pretty. You have to get pretty close to it.
And how are the temporal shields holding up?
They're holding up pretty fine. It doesn't seem to be going out much past close range. So the shields definitely would help with tractoring it.
There might be a way to use the tractor beam to stabilize the anomaly enough to beam someone over. Or beam someone off.
Again, I'm uncertain as to how that works with the temporal prime directive. Would we have to turn the Jem'hadar over to the Department of Temporal Investigation?
If the Jem'hadar had no way of returning to the timeline, then yes. But as it stands with an active anomaly, then no. Our first priority right now is to return both the ship and the time traveler back to their own timeline.
Listen, we should investigate to see if we're capable of doing that.
That's a good idea. Maybe we can push instead of pull with a tractor beam or something. I don't know.
My first priority right now is to use the tractor beam to stabilize it. First, we have to stabilize the anomaly, then it'll be easier to manipulate. Right now, it's too chaotic.
Either way, it sounds like this is time for some more sciencing.
But yeah, first off, we need to set a course and get us within tractor beam range.
All right. So Alvarado, do you want him to thrust or impulse in?
Impulse.
All right. So I'm gonna make that use up energy
Power.
It gets in. The shields are reacting to the chronotonic energy, the radiation. There is a light show, but from what you're seeing, there is no leakage. Whatever chronotons are there, they're not making it through the shields.
I just have to solve the age-old problem of beaming through shield technology.
Well, let's try and figure out how to stabilize this thing.
Yeah, exactly. What we're going to do is use tractor beams to create sort of a tachyon pulse. We're going to try and temporarily match the disturbance with our local time frame. Not enough to disrupt it, but enough to stabilize it.
Let's hope we're capable of enveloping the whole ship and not shearing it apart.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna look to Mazaka and Rogeson.
Alright, let's make this happen.
So Rogeson takes a deep breath and checks in with you guys and starts working, assuming you want her to assist.
Yes, please. I give her the encouraging mom smile, and my antennae do like a little perk when she looks at me.
It's kind of adorable.
Okay, so first, I need someone to control the tractor beam. I need someone to modify the tractor beam, and I'll need someone to actually do the science and formulate how to generate a tachyon pulse with a tractor beam. So
Sounds like security, engineering, and science.
Oh, amazing how that works out.
Alright. What are each of us rolling?
So it'll be basic control for everyone, plus their disciplines. For the ship, it'll be structure security.
And who's taking the lead?
I will say,
I wouldn't. I think Mazaka would.
Security is 16, if that helps.
So
We're at 16?
I will say either Mzaka or Safan. I will leave up.
Safan has slightly higher stats than me.
Okay.
Mzaka's at 15.
Does my shipboard tactical systems focus apply?
I will allow that to apply because the tractor beam is technically part of that.
Yeah, okay.
does Mazaka's EPS system focus apply so that he could like channel the power more efficiently for this jury rigging?
I'm gonna roll a dice on that. Higher or lower?
Let's go with higher.
Okay, 6, 4, 5, and you get to. No.
How about warp field dynamics? So
Okay, that'll work.
Okay.
I will give you that.
Alright, I'm gonna take our last momentum if that's alright with you guys.
Go for it.
And what's our difficulty,
Yeah.
guys?
The difficulty will be 4 with the reduction.
Let him take it.
Question: does my unorthodox tactics focus apply?
I'm gonna say yes.
Ooh, okay.
Giggity.
And wow,
Okay, there's 4.
5
5.
6, 7.
plus the Valkyrie.
Oh my god.
and
Who would like to roll for the
Process.
Valkyrie?
Who wants?
I don't think we need Rogues. I think Rogues is just like, you guys got this.
I thought Rogue's included.
she is a part of this. She will roll. Hang on, I just
What
need to
was the
find
roll
her.
for the ship?
So
Yeah, go
structure security for the ship.
Okay.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
God.
So we got all
That's-
momentum.
Yeah, that's 9 successes.
For-
10 successes.
Can I ask right now that we use some of that to
That's a
create
record.
Can I ask right now that we use some of that to create an advantage where we're able to stabilize the anomaly enough that we can lower our shields enough to make a transport?
What I suggest instead is that you're able to use that to just send him back to his own time.
I mean, sure.
Well, the idea is that we can't yet. We're trying to stabilize the anomaly enough that we can actually interact with the ship.
I think he's trying to say you're not going to be allowed to interact with it.
Well, alternately, he might be saying, hey, while we're at it, we can use the tractor beam and just push him back through the opening.
Boop.
All right, sure.
So
That's what it takes. All right.
Go home, Jem'hadar. You're drunk.
I'm free now.
So yeah, I mean, just with the amount of successes you got, you could pretty much do enough momentum spend for advantages that you're able, as part of that, you're able to control, not only stabilize it, but you're able to control it to sort of inverse it. So as to basically. Basically undo the temporal rift and send it back through the other direction.
Safan's like, I saw Wesley do this with the Enterprise's tractor beams once.
You had to bring that up.
And
That's where tractor beam repulsors came from. Of course I did.
and now there is no sign left that there even was a Jem'hadar base ship there.
Is the anomaly also gone?
The anomaly is gone.
We didn't have to shoot anything or blow anything up.
That's
That was nice.
nice.
Yeah, that's a nice change of pace.
I call that a win.
Still, I hope that Jem'hadar can is fully reintegrated with their time frame.
Me as well. But as it stands, it's no longer a problem. And I'm gonna reach over and grab my bulkier tricorder.
So,
Alright. Go ahead.
who wants to go get dinner?
Yes, please.
Mm-hmm.
Food sounds amazing.
An
Yes.
excellent proposition.
Meanwhile, 40 years in the future, this isn't a joke.
Rex wakes up.
Guys, that isn't a joke. 40 years in the future, this anomaly appears on the sensors of the USS Cassini.
What?
Are you serious?
I am serious.
Oh my god.
Why do we do this to ourselves?
But we'll get into that next week.
Oh. Well, on the plus side, we actually have some time to do some more Loren sessions.
Or at least it'll happen in the new year. That'll be it for the Valkyrie and Cassini crew for this year. So thank you for joining us once again, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year.
Don't fly through any anomalies.
Happy New Year.